Quick question. Have any of y'all seemed to find that perfect job that literally meets all your needs? The one job that you know you won't even be thinking about leaving anytime soon? Well, I bet you haven't. But either way it goes in this economy, you still won't be thinking about quitting because you got bills to pay. Now, on the other hand, if you ever wonder why some people can't either seem to keep, let alone find a job nowadays, and other people are able to bounce from job to job regardless of field, it's typically because they got a good handle on their own personal brand. And the way I see it, if you're not out developing yours, you're selling yourself short. Hopefully these tips will help you improve yours. Now in this video, I'm pretty much just gonna be breaking down the top 4 reasons why you should be developing your personal brand, as well as the ways I think you can do it. Now starting off with reason number 1 is that it basically lets people know who you are with a touch of professionalism. Now depending on what you do for work and or money, you basically give a unique perspective on the life that it entails. Now, whether you're a beginner or an expert, you're able to shed a specific light on things that people won't ever get anywhere else. Now, whether or not people are in the same field, depending on how you package the content, people are going to be interested. Now, if people already know you and your personality, they'll be able to see you in a different light based on what you do and how they imagine the work being done. Now, in the inverse, if they actually don't know you, but they know the work that's being done, they'll be able to get to know a fellow professional from afar and possibly get in touch. Think of it as a more personalized version of LinkedIn, where people will be able to get to know you versus just knowing your work history and professional accomplishments. Now, more than anything, the most effective method of doing this is basically just start communicating with your audience, no matter how small they are. Being able to become more relatable and personable is basically how you grow in any aspect and become an expert in what you do. Because more often than not, even the best people in any profession more than likely don't really truly know how to connect with others. They honestly are just good at specific skills. Showing your personality and becoming an effective communicator is honestly more important than showing exactly what you do and how you do it. More often than not, your skill set is secondary when it comes to jobs, and soft skills are what really matter. Now, I've noticed that the most popular and relevant users on any platform tend to stand out because of their personality and not necessarily because they do anything special in their content. People actually want to relate to those they support and do business with in some way, shape, or form. So honestly, it's up to you to give them a reason to support by being yourself and not compromising who you are just for a like or a follow. Personally, by taking YouTube more serious in contrast to Instagram, I wanted to connect with others like me, as well as improve my communication skills, because it definitely needed work. And the more often I do it, the more I'll improve and be able to utilize it in any other avenues that I want to in the future. As much of a natural introvert I am, I want to be able to be an extrovert whenever I need to. Now, honestly, the main reason you should be doing this is simply because it's a better version of a resume. The former resume is simply outdated and obsolete. People actually want to work with those who they find actual connection with. Those soft skills are really what truly separates candidates now. Now, networking through mediums such as LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook gives you the best competitive edge based on how well you can market yourself. And while you might not be able to get the hang of it in the beginning, being able to separate yourself from the crowd is the biggest skill anybody can have. Now, being able to utilize YouTube is honestly the most effective way to become an expert in your interests, because it's the second largest search engine behind its owner, Google. Now, 9 times out of 10, everything that people want to either learn or see is on YouTube for people to get the next best thing to an in-person experience. YouTube University is for sure a real thing, because people have changed entire work fields based off of what they learned off of it alone. So definitely don't sell yourself short by thinking that learning stops when you graduate high school and college. And the main way to do this is to simply learn how to market yourself. And as many know, being an introvert doesn't necessarily help with this process. Now, the best way to accomplish this is to simply find out what's unique about you and make sure to take advantage of that. Now, of course, you've heard many people say everybody is special, but many people don't even know what actually makes them special. And the one way to do this is to simply put yourself out there for people to get to know you. Now, by taking advantage of all these social media apps at our disposal, the first goal that I would definitely encourage you to hit is to garner your 1,000 true fans. Basically, in layman's terms, all this is the people who definitely rock with you no matter what you do because of who you are. Now, as for a quick breakdown of how to utilize the most popular apps, I'll basically give you a quick synopsis on how most people utilize each of these. Now, for Instagram, we all know that was the first app that we all as a collective really gravitated towards. And it's typically used to cultivate an overall aesthetic of your lifestyle. Most honestly don't even have a plan on what to post. They just post what they feel. Now for Facebook, that's pretty much the OG of OGs when it comes to this social media stuff. And that's pretty much just for close friends and family members who actually know you when you actually, grew up and stuff. As for LinkedIn, it's pretty much the professional social media app that everybody utilizes in order to grow their professional base and get known and to get jobs. Now, YouTube is simply a dumping ground for all your thoughts, interests, ideas, and your life and much more. But most importantly, you're able to display your personality. Now, as you continually put in the work to not only show yourself, but your expertise, this will show your competency and how well you're able to market yourself. Because honestly, nobody's gonna want it more for yourself than you. Now, me personally, I take YouTube the most serious. But my main issues is the fact that I don't post enough consistently, as well as posting about it on other platforms in order to funnel in new viewers and existing viewers to let them know that I'm posting. But once I crack that, I'll definitely be on my way. I'm trying to be as close as a household name as possible. Now, the third reason that I would give to anybody else that I unintentionally stumbled upon myself is the fact that it holds yourself accountable to the goals that you set, as well as pushes you to improve in all aspects of life. Now, whether or not you care or even want to be seen in a positive light by others, you'll want to naturally improve for yourself and make your life that much better. And the way I frame my use for social media is basically using it simply as a time capsule and a personal diary for myself to look back on. Being able to get my thoughts out, document my journey, as well as inspire and connect with others is just a bonus. Now, the engagement that might subsequently come from it only reinforces the idea that what you're doing resonates with more people other than yourself. Humans naturally seek community out in all aspects of life, and the internet only amplifies the ability to do so. Now, if there's others in the same space as you, doing better than you, you'll either see them as competition or inspiration. Either way, it'll push you to do that much better and get you to the point where you need to go. Now, obviously, the best way of doing this is to simply build up the habit of not only showing up for your audience, but more importantly, yourself. Now, initially, once you start posting, you're probably not gonna get too much engagement or followers from it. And honestly, you gotta ignore that desire to actually seek that validation. And once you start to ignore that, you'll start to post more. And the more you post, the more of a habit it'll become. And the stronger the habit, the more of a desire that you'll have to improve yourself. And the first thing that you need to do is to find your why. Why is it that you want to build your personal brand? Now, my why simply comes from the desire to become not only financially free, but to be able to work wherever and whenever I want to. From the many books, podcasts, and just videos that I look up trying to learn to make myself better, finding out that communication is the #1 skill that will help me get to that goal. So with improvement comes consistency and persistence. And the more dedicated you are to your goals, the better you become in said field. Now, the theme of life and improvement is to always get your 10,000 hours. Because more than anything, that's how long it takes to become proficient in anything that you want to. But honestly, just because you continually show up doesn't mean you're gonna naturally get better. You have to look for new ways to challenge yourself and up the production value along the way in order to stand out. Like I said, you gotta show what makes you unique. Now, for my fourth reason as to why you should develop your personal brand is the possibility of opening up multiple income streams that end up naturally aligning with your own purpose. And for those who have heard the Japanese idea of ikigai, they basically understand how this creates that. Now, as a natural byproduct of all the hard work and dedication that you develop throughout this process, the possibility to be paid will always be there. But before you get too ahead of yourself, I think it's way more important to first develop a reason outside of getting paid in order to keep yourself going, because more often than not, probably not gonna see a dime out of this, at least in the beginning. Now, with the right marketing and consistency, you can start to develop your interests and hobbies into ways to make income through things like the creator programs on TikTok and Instagram, as well as making AdSense from things like YouTube. Now, honestly, in my opinion, I think if you're not on the internet in some capacity, I think you're pretty much selling yourself short and essentially committing professional suicide, especially with the way the internet is going now. Now, of course, there are people who are anomalies who either minimally use social media or not even on it at all. But I think more often than not, they're either already set with what they're doing and they don't really even need it. And in their defense, I can see why they might shy away from it, because honestly, the internet can definitely be a scary place, especially when it comes to people commenting on your stuff and just the overall landscape of how it's looking out now. But the way I see it, instead of being afraid of all the things that could possibly go wrong, I'd say imagine all the ways that it could go right. And the way I see it, although it is probably more common than not to see people who specialize in a certain niche or field, I'd say the way to foolproof yourself is to diversify your talents. Now, with the overarching theme of this video being developing your personal brand, you might be thinking that all of this is happening outside of an actual job while you're trying to become an entrepreneur. But couldn't be farther from the truth. All of this can definitely be going while you have a full-time job. Once you become a valuable voice and authority in a certain space, I definitely say take advantage of that reach and begin to offer services directly from yourself outside of a formal job. And once you get great and find your groove in one venture, look to expand your types of services so you aren't reliant on one thing, unless you're able to secure a substantial amount of market share in that one thing. Now, as you get better and more established, figure out how to take back some of your time by delegating certain tasks while you take advantage of that residual income. Now, once you're able to fund your lifestyle, figure out another method to either earn more or invest what you have. Now, the way I see it, by not confining yourself to one method of income, you pretty much insulate yourself from any major financial setbacks. Now, the main reason I say this is a good idea is, for one, with employment rates being so high and people not being able to get jobs because of the crazy criteria that jobs have, and two, with stories of people just staying at dead-end jobs just to make ends meet and scraping pennies and not have a life that they actually like, I definitely say this is something that you can do on your own time that won't ever hurt. And by even attempting to do this, you can begin to create different skills and streams while opening yourself up not only to different opportunities, but also memorable moments throughout your life that you probably wouldn't have had before. And honestly, me personally, I'd rather be a jack of all trades than a master of one. Now, hopefully you enjoyed this video and more importantly, got a lot from it. Although it isn't, the typical vlogs that I started to push out a lot more throughout the last year, it is something that I want to make a lot more of, even if a lot of my audience doesn't really gravitate towards it. But like I said myself, man, I want to take my own advice and diversify my talents, and not only be able to, edit vlogs and stuff and give you that type of entertainment, but also education, because I definitely learned a lot throughout my life and I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. So what better way to document it by sharing it with y'all? But that's the end of the video. Of course, make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments what y'all want me to make. And without further ado, we gone.